Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Monday, October 2nd, a victory Monday for your Jacksonville Jaguars. The first victory Monday they've had in about 3 weeks. Had 2 straight losses. They were able to get the monkey off their back with a big win in London over the Atlanta Falcons. Final score 23-7. Right now, we're going to get into Jaguars defensive standouts in this big win for the Jaguars, and it was a really banner day for the Jaguars defense in a lot of ways. We'll get into it. If you enjoy the content here, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. Without further ado, let's talk about it. I think it'd be a crime to not start with Josh Allen, who now has 6 sacks on the year. But the great thing about this performance for me in the sack department, I loved that the first 2 sacks he had were actually team sacks. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, well, then they shouldn't count for Josh Allen. Whatever. I'm not here to get into the semantics of that. I'm just saying the fact that they were rushing with a coordinated effort, that they were rushing complementary, was really encouraging to me, because you saw Foy Ola, he basically ran the center back into the quarterback on Josh Allen's first sack. On the second sack, the nickel blitz from Trey Herndon forced the quarterback out of the pocket and right into Josh Allen's waiting arms. So good coordinated rushes by the defense, team rushes, team wins on those. I like to see that from a defense, because that means that you're really able to play complementary football. And I think that's huge when it comes to the pass rush. And he almost had another strip sack against Desmond Ridder. He was looking down the field, but Ridder just got it off. I think Allen was like a millisecond from getting that one. And then that was actually the play down the field that Darius Williams should have been able to pick it off. He picked off another pass, and we'll talk about that, obviously. But this one, Darius Williams had that ball dead to rights, and he just couldn't come up with it. Probably maybe why he's playing corner right now. But Allen, I think Josh Allen, he could have had 5 or more sacks in this game. If you go back and watch the tape, he was really close on several other plays. He did end up with 3 sacks, right? And on that final one, the strip sack to close out the game, it was just a one-on-one win from him. He used his athleticism, his core strength, and his balance to bend the edge and get to the quarterback. And I think that it was a banner day, like I said, for the Jaguars defense in many ways. It was definitely that for Josh Allen, who always plays with extreme effort, who is almost always the Jaguars' most impactful pass rusher, but a guy who over the years, people have gotten on him for not having as many sacks as they want. And he now has 2 games this year where he's gotten 3 sacks in each of those games, 6 sacks on the season. He's been one of the most impactful edge rushers in the NFL this year, and that's with dealing with a shoulder injury. He missed a good chunk of the Chiefs game, and when he wasn't available for the Jaguars in the Chiefs game, you could tell that the defense was sorely missing him, right? And then he played through it against the Texans, didn't have a huge game, but was still their best pass rusher on the day. So Josh Allen, I think you got to be really fired up about the way he's playing football. Going to have to start thinking about that price tag after the year for Josh Allen too as well, who is playing in a contract year. He's on pace to break every Jaguars pass rush record season-wise that there is, right? He's on pace to beat Calais Campbell's sack record right now. Now, it's a long season. He's got to keep playing good football. But the way he's been playing over the first 4 weeks of the season, basically the first quarter of the season. I know with 17 games now, it's not exactly a quarter, but essentially the first quarter of the season, Josh Allen has been excellent for the Jaguars, and he's always good against the run. He's always high effort. He's finishing these plays now more often than not, and you love to see it for him. Trayvon Walker, talking about a guy who needs to continue to play good football and maybe play better football than he has played, especially when it comes to getting after the quarterback. A guy that definitely sets the edge really well, uses his athleticism, his strength to be able to be an impact player against the run, but you want to see more from a number 1 overall pick against the pass. And you saw a little bit of that in this game, enough to get me a little excited about what I saw. He had that early sack, which didn't lose a lot of yards. I think it might have been, half a yard that he got Desmond Ridder down behind the line of scrimmage, but he was lined up outside the tackle on that play and then attacked the B gap, attacked the guard. And that's what I want to see more of. When he gets ahead of steam and he's able to use his athleticism and strength and explosiveness against interior offensive linemen, I think that is where you get to see some of the best mismatches that Trayvon Walker can have, because they just do not have the length and athleticism that Trayvon Walker can bring to the field. And then he also adds a ton of strength to that, and it's a problem for interior offensive linemen, guards and centers. He was the one that forced Ridder to get rid of the ball on the rollout late in the red zone on that 4th down play that Trey Herndon was able to escort Drake London out of bounds, not get his feet down. But yeah, Trayvon exploded into the backfield on that one, on that rollout. He was able to hit Desmond Ridder. So I think overall, good game for Trayvon Walker. Like I said, he's a guy that really does help you a ton in base, but a guy you want more out of as a pass rusher. I think you got some glimpses of what you want to see from him today. So I think good stuff for Trayvon Walker. Foy Ola, he deserves credit for Josh Allen's first sack. Like I mentioned, the center's butt practically knocked over Desmond Ridder. Really nice day from Foy Ola overall. And, this is a defensive line that's been missing their stoutest player in the middle, Devon Hamilton, who I don't think is going to be able to return. Obviously not during the London trip. He didn't travel with the Jaguars, but it seems like he's still a few weeks away potentially. But you will see some guys getting back here for the Jaguars in the next couple weeks. Cam Robinson, DeJuan Smoot potentially as well. At some point, Devon Hamilton, Cooper Hodges at some point. So you will see some reinforcements for the Jaguars. But getting back to the Jaguars' defensive standouts, I think up front they just played really well. The Falcons have a very good run blocking offensive line. You saw some of that in this game, but overall, their impact against the pass was huge up front. Did a really good job. At linebacker, I think Foy Ola playing against his former team, he was really racing up around the field, making tackles, as you would expect. 17 total tackles for him on the day, 3 tackles for loss. He was big against his former team. I think that Foy Ola, at this point, you can pretty much every week just count on him to play very good football for your Jaguars. That's what he's been doing for, at least the last 15 games, dating back to the 2022 season. He's just been playing really sound, good football, racing around the field, as I mentioned, making a ton of tackles, making good plays for his team to help them win games, no doubt about it. And he is the leader, in my opinion, of that defense in terms of the way that he coordinates everything out there. Tough assignment for Chad Muma, who got his first start of the season with Devin Lloyd having the thumb injury. Muma will start for at least this game and next week against Buffalo. We'll see when Devin Lloyd's able to get back after having that thumb surgery. But Chad Muma going out there, having to deal with Bijan Robinson, and Tyler Algier is a good running back in his own right. The Jaguars really were able to shut him down when he was on the field. So I think that part was really impressive. Having to deal with Bijan, really tough. You saw it on the first drive. Bijan kind of put Chad Muma in the spin cycle a little bit there, but that's going to happen to a lot of linebackers in this league. A lot of players in this league are going to look silly at the hands of Bijan Robinson because he's just one of the best backs, one of the best talents at running back that we've seen in quite some time. But Chad Muma still was able to get some tackles on Bijan Robinson, have an impact against the run, and have an impact in coverage. He had 2 pass breakups, one in zone coverage where he was able to use his athleticism and length to get back deep in that zone, get his hand on the football. Then he also got a batted pass in the backfield where he was blitzing. He made a lot of plays in pursuit. I think Chad Muma, again, tough assignment against a team that has the type of tight ends that the Atlanta Falcons has, with Jonnu Smith, who absolutely roasted the Jaguars. No surprise there. I feel like that's what he does every time he plays the Jags, dating back to his days with the Titans. But, and that's just kind of what tight ends do with the Jaguars defense. They run roughshod all over them. That's how it goes. But Chad Muma still able to make a couple plays in coverage, a couple plays in pursuit. I think that you can feel confident in his ability moving forward to at least play some decent football for you. And he's going to need to play some decent football against the Buffalo Bills. That'll be a tough one too. Having 2 starts where you're having to go up against these tight ends and running backs and then the face what the Bills have to throw at you as well. Not going to be easy stuff for Chad Muma, but still encouraging performance. At corner, I think you really feel good about what you saw from Darius Williams. After what was definitely a down week against the Texans, Darius came out and maybe had one of the best games of his career in terms of being able to get his hand on the football. 3 pass breakups, had the pick 6 where he baited the quarterback, was just kind of sitting back there waiting on him to throw that ball. He jumped the route and it was off to the races. Josh Allen was down the field blocking for him. That was another play where it took a team effort to get the job done, and they were able to do that in a big way. But Darius Williams just all over the place when it comes to ball production in this one. Should have had another interception, did have another nice pass breakup in the game. His running mate on the opposite side, really good as well. Tyson Campbell had 2 big pass breakups. He broke up a deep shot to Drake London where he was in perfect position to get his hand in the football deep down the field. and then break up the pass. And then obviously also had a big pass breakup on the sideline intended for Kyle Pitts, kind of a physical play to make sure that Pitts couldn't come down with that ball. I thought that was really impressive by Tyson Campbell, who is just one of the best young corners in this league, bar none. The Falcons, they did not get a first down until the second quarter. I think you love to see that intensity and effort from your defense early on, and they certainly had opportunities to get first downs. The Jaguars defense was stingy, though, early on, no doubt about it. Obviously, we mentioned the Falcons have a problem at quarterback right now. Ritter is not playing well, but the Jaguars defense forced a lot of the mistakes that he made today. First time and only time the Falcons crossed midfield in the first half. That was when Darius Williams got that interception with that big pick six house call. So the defense, again, not allowing the opponent to get past the 50-yard line only one time in the first half. And when they did, you made them pay by returning it to the house for 6. Very next play, defensively, Andre Cisco lurking in the middle of the field. Easy interception. Desmond Ridder did not see him. He should not have thrown that football. He had the nice return. Andre Cisco did. Fumble at the end. They were lucky to get back on it. But great play from Andre Cisco, just kind of waiting for his opportunity and taking advantage of it when it was presented. He's a guy that knows how to get his hands on the football, no doubt. Drake London versus Trey Herndon. That's a matchup that I think if you're the Falcons, you really like. And you got that several times in this game. Got their only touchdown from that matchup. Drake London was able to get in the end zone with Trey Herndon in tight coverage. But I loved to see Trey Herndon. He hung in there. And after that play, later on in the game, when the Jaguars needed a play on defense, they needed to get off the field on defense on 4th down, Trey Herndon was able to force Drake London out of bounds. I thought that was a really heady play, a smart play, a play from a guy that really just is kind of playing with confidence and really knowing what his role is in this defense right now. So kudos to Trey Herndon, who is not always the fan favorite in Jacksonville, right? But playing tough, physical, bringing energy, being smart, knowing where the out-of-bounds line is. And he was almost able to jump another route earlier on that drive that could have potentially been a house call if he was able to haul it in. So good day for Trey Herndon overall. Did give up the touchdown, but that's a matchup that Atlanta will take 9 times out of 10. And Trey Herndon was able to hold his own and made the big play when it counted later in the game. Very good play overall from the Jaguars secondary as a whole. The secondary had 7 pass breakups. That's outstanding against 31 pass attempts, 2 interceptions, also awesome stuff. I think this was a day that the Jaguars secondary kind of needed. They needed to rebuild some chemistry. They needed to rebuild some confidence back there for the entire defense after what happened against the Texans, for the entire team, quite frankly. And I think this defense as a whole was just very impressive. Almost every time that Bijan made someone miss, there was someone else there to kind of try to clean up, or multiple guys there to clean up. They did give up the one long run. Darius Williams kind of lost leverage on the outside. Hard not to, because Bijan, he presses the hole so well. He has that vision and the ability to cut on a dime. But, you only give up the one really long one to him, and it was not a house call. It was a 38-yarder. So I think you'll take it overall. This is how you should play football as a defense as talented as the Jaguars are, and in their second year in this system. This is how you should play football against a team that has a quarterback that's not playing well. You should be able to hold them under 10 points. You should be able to dominate the game, and that's exactly what they did. They should be able to shut it down in the secondary. They should be able to make the team one-dimensional that they're playing in this situation. And again, exactly what they did. So big-time performance from the Jaguars defense. We will talk about the Jaguars offensive standouts as well tomorrow. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. You can follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. Y'all have a good one.